Unfortunately for me, people actually liked my I'm standing on a million lives video and how much I hate it. It seems like I penned myself into a corner here, forced to make a part 2, like being trapped in a swimming pool as a Candiro River parasite tries to swim up my cockhole. There may be a small misunderstanding on part 1. I imagine some of you, along with putting it next to the Mona Lisa in the Louvre, may have believed that my commentary was a little bit tongue-in-cheek. This I can expel in one swift motion. No, I genuinely hate this big pile of shit and I hope to better display that in this new video. Allow me to summarise, dear viewer, the first part. Let me give you a quaint little analogy. Imagine watching a series, but every time something dumb happens or a plot hole occurs, a heavyweight boxer gets to pound you in the back of the head. By the end of episode 1, you'd be experiencing brain trauma on par with being hurled into the sun at light speed. Then you realise that you've only made it 10 minutes into episode 1, and your disintegration in the vacuum of space was but a small mercy. Story-wise, not much happened, honestly. Adolf Brooding here is a normal Japanese boy, and by normal Japanese boy, I mean a total fucking freak. He is, by his own admittance, wrong and always will be, and that's not me being facetious, that's an actual quote. He's joined by Warwick, Useless, and Dipshit. Dipshit, if you're wondering, is my least favourite character, for reasons we'll get into. Picking a favourite character between them is a bit like picking your favourite nail to be crucified with, or your favourite type of salmonella to give you diarrhoea. Warwick is Warwick, as she claims to be a petite model, like this top lad. She's currently my favourite, as her hatred for ugly people is somewhat admirable. Useless is Useless, which is pretty self-explanatory. My least favourite is Dipshit, because she's a big stinky paedophile, and that's not me being dramatic, that's actually canon. Look. Basically, the Gooners, which is what I call them, are sent to a parallel world where they have to engage in arbitrary quests for no discernible reason. For each victory involves them getting a new member and having to go back. Having just completed their 4th quest, number 5 looms. Season 2 episode 1 begins with images of piles of garbage, accurate foreshadowing of things to come. We are greeted by whom is set to be the latest recruit. I will determine a suitable name at appropriate time. A goon comes by and punches his mum for not coughing up the dough. We see the backstory of why the 2 brothers were trying to murder a guy in the final episode of Series 1, where Adolf stops him with his magical wanking glove. I thought the intro sequence would bring back my memory of Season 2, like Mason in Black Ops being told his activation code, but it doesn't. It did make me consider why, and I've settled on 2 main possibilities. The first is that it's boring and shit, a sound prediction if I don't say so myself. The other is that it's so bad that my brain regressed into a childlike state of trauma. Let's find out which. Adolf is alone. Good. Warwick and Useless seem to have maintained their friendship. Not even battling through life-threatening situations could make either of them like him one bit. He's going through what we would discuss as his permanent brooding darkness arc, as he grapples with setting someone on fire while they were wrapped in cloth, like we all haven't done it. Get a grip. Dipshit aims to grow her online career by revealing her experiences, when all she has to do is be miserable and call things shit like me. They get warped to the fantasy world like 40k Terminators, where they see the new guy in his intimidating attire. P. Diddy returns to give a new quest. Offer the Siska Yongfu at Gadornon. Only joking, it's actually offer the Jiffon Buffo at Vicadamia, like it makes any more fucking sense. New systems have been added, an extended respawn time and most critically, the ability to fast travel somewhere that they've been before, but only once every 24 hours. I ran through the rest of the patch notes like it's Marvel Rivals, and disappointingly Useless has not received a much needed buff, and Dipshit isn't dead. I'm going to go with the name for this lad as Piss on account of his haircut, until something better is presented. He gets a wheel spin, and it's a spearman. Adolf seems to dislike Piss, I imagine jealous of a more handsome and likeable boy being around, like it was much of a challenge. Warwick is like, cut the shit, we're heroes. If we fail the quest, we die, and he's like, alright, bet. Wait, do I actually like Piss? Oh, well, we'll see. Okay, he can be Yellow for now. Yellow squares up to Adolf and they fight. Adolf telling him to get on his knees. Oh, how saucy. Yellow kicks Adolf in his dumb fat head, and it's great, bumping his name up from yellow to golden. Useless reminisces about this weird kid with a bird on his head, hopefully not making her a part of the big stinky pedo club. They bump into Henry Carville from Season 1, and she says it's been 15 years. Clearly, Henry is Asian or black, because she looks absolutely wonderful for it. Adolf sees that she has 2 children, and immediately considers whether the fantasy world has child support. Oh sorry, I forgot. Adolf is canonically an incel, so never mind. Jiffon is apparently an island, and Carvel reveals that she lost a hand in a battle. The Evil Kingdom fought everyone else in a bunch of campaigns, but they didn't bother to tell us which one won, I guess. Adolf laments that he and Henry were a lot alike, which is weird, because she was heroic and cool, and he's a total fucking dweeb. They say that having a child is 1,000 times harder than killing, because clearly they've never fought Melania. See that? Yeah, you, in the comments section right now, typing how easy Melania was, and that you're the best Elden Ring player in history, that you even did it blindfolded with a cock up your bum. Yes, comment, and push my video up the algorithm with engagement statistics, you absolute fool. Golden says she helped raise his brother, and Adolf gets all pissy like it's a contest. Golden then thanks Adolf for stopping them killing, but says he kicked his fat head for hitting his brother. Henry holds Adolf's hand, and he realised that he did indeed actually blow it. Henry, who I may remind you is in her mid-30s now, kisses 14-year-old Adolf, adding another to what we will call the pedo zone. Now here's a white guy. He was about 5 before, and now he's in his mid-20s looking middle-aged. I burst out laughing when it did the fade between characters. I didn't even make a note of this lad's name in part 1, thus was his importance. She gets all flustered for some reason, and that's it for Nikus or Nukus or whatever his name was. They teleport onto a boat and they travel along with a bunch of hooded mercenaries. They arrived in Japanland and meet the ritual dancers, what wizards call strippers. Vicomania, or whatever the fuck it's called, is a harvest festival. A Gifon Buffo is apparently not an Italian fashion designer, but one of these things. They have this camouflage pattern to make it more difficult for U-boats to approximate their headings. The girls glumly express that they can't have the festival because some shipwreck fellas took over a castle. They're apparently orcs who the islanders have surrendered to, and now they must give their glorious buffo to, which they say with a straight face. A spy tells the orcs that the villagers have hired mercenaries, despite having a fucking banner and confetti celebrating their arrival on the beach. Adolf actually does some farming, suggesting that you can maintain XP gaining techniques from each class. Okay, one positive thing. I do admit that I like the intro bit where the head is like The mercenaries' supposedly secret presence is compounded as they train the villagers openly on the beach. Adolf gets pissy about not being the team leader. We see this lad who's training them, and he basically looks like the Temu version of this guy from Bleach. Adolf runs off to raise his level after not making the team, and he's like, oh, how can I raise my level as a farmer? They start talking about fruit, so I started painting some miniatures instead. Literally speaking, I'd rather watch paint dry. Apparently they fall off the trees so they don't get to grow, along with the poor quality soil. They use buffo fertilizer, and because there isn't as many from the orcs, the crops are failing to grow. Adolf says it's a volcanic island. Since its surface is covered in volcanic soil, it lacks the organic matter that nourishes plants. This, if you're wondering, viewer, is total fucking bollocks. They are some of the best soil types due to not only having a high mineral count and drainage, but also how they retain organic matter. He suggests using seashell and seaweed fertilizer, I presume because it can be used as lime, something that helps to neutralise acidic soils. Volcanic soils near the equator are considered slightly acidic, so fuck, yeah, okay, sure. Adolf gets a good pike at them tits, and then gets a kick for his trouble. Here's Tits, and her friend, I don't care. They have a side mission for a few minutes of just fondling Tits. I'm not sure why. They explain that they have to stay as virgins as the ritual dancers, and there's no one to take their place because of all the orcs. Right, okay, Adolf would be prime choice for ritual dancer, as there's no way he's ever having sex. This stupid motherfucker asks the girls from a medieval fantasy world if they can stick on a radio. As I write this part of the script, pausing the videos to write my witty little comments, if in place of a radio that they start singing, I will generally get extremely fucking angry.
The Song of the Many Islands.
I can't quite express to you, dear viewer, the anger I felt after hearing this. Quite simply, I placed aside the pad I was watching it on and simply went to bed. It wasn't even late, it was in the afternoon. I just went to bed. The rage I feel for this fucking shit show of a series has started glowing upwards like a beam of ionising radiation identifiable from space. The crew at the ISS gave me a quick call. Hey Wolf, you know... Yeah, the beam, yeah, ionising, yeah. Are you good? I sent them the clip that I watched, and I think they jettisoned themselves at the airlock in solidarity. These two are 25 and 27. They'd be considered ancient figures of legend in J-pop, a world where at 22 you might as well perform at a retirement home, you grey-haired bitch. Besides making me want to die, the lyrics of the song, which I naturally read on mute, had descriptions of natural disasters, and I'm sure will become plot relevant when Adolf goes, "Ooh, the song!" Useless hands out snacks rather than fucking train, and Dipshit just lays about, I guess. The mercs see an orc, and this one guy dashes ahead, and someone goes, "Wow, it's no wonder you're the last surviving member of your people." I just rolled my eyes.
Like that, it's no wonder you escaped to become the last surviving remnant of your people.
The last survivor?
The attempt at characterising about as good as Blomblam from part 1. There's apparently only 14 orcs that they actually need to kill, and now I'm not saying that I'm smarter than the author, but oh yeah I am. Consider if you will, dear student, that the orcs are given food by the people. What can the people do to the orcs? A. Fuck all, let's fight them normally. Or B. Poison the food. Maybe they should just burn down the castle. Hey you, yeah, you, common sense. Why don't you shut the fuck up and keep watching? Oh, okay. Apparently half the people didn't want to fight as they were content to run out of food and die. I think the author intended for some sort of ethical dilemma on subservience and safety versus freedom and risk, but totally fucked the scales towards one side, making the debate completely meaningless by telling us that the orcs keep demanding more and more food each time and ate all the young girls, so there is no future for the village. Maybe they should have adjusted it a little bit to make it more of a fair debate. Have the orcs the ones to rid the island of monsters rather than the great ancestors. Yes, they are a nuisance to the villagers, but they are effectively a feudal lord demanding taxes. But no, fuck you and your nuance. Warwick has a go at the villagers for blaming the dancers for bringing about the battle, which is ostensibly true, and she says that full-grown men shouldn't go round blaming women for their problems. Apparently women to the author don't have agency or blame, like mischievous little hedgehogs scuttling around filled with whimsy, but considering Master Incel as the main character, it's hardly surprising. I reached a junction here on my thoughts about the series, and decided to consider the author themselves. There isn't much info to go on, honestly. I don't speak Japanese, so don't have much luck. Previously it was just like, oh, a guy or woman wrote this terrible story, haha, to now, I think this guy's a big smelly cunt with incel fantasy, misogyny, and paedophilia for laughs. Fuck you. I still think people can enjoy it, but it kind of all bleeds through at certain points like a poorly fitted tampon. The girl goes, "Are you Thingy? The kid who ran away from here, Thingy?" And he's like, "That's right, I'm Thingy, the kid who ran away from here, Thingy."
Are you Thansamur, that kid who ran away from here?
So you finally remembered me. That's right. I come from this island.
Jesus Christ.
Question for everyone. If our ancestors could see the way we're acting right now, what would they think of us?
He invokes the ancestors, and the crowd is like, "Oh, the ancestors! He invoked them!" I think I'm just not going to take it seriously anymore, and just go off at the end like a nuclear ballistic missile. One of them goes, "Our ancestors came here 900 years ago and made this land fertile. We fought for Japanland, and without our culture we are just a papier-mâché paradise." Which is a great name for a band, by the way.
Because this is no papier-mâché paradise!
The guy goes, "This is no papier-mâché paradise," again. I think the author thinks the audience too stupid to get it the first time, so they just say everything twice. I think the author thinking the audience is too stupid to get it the first time, so they say everything twice. See? This immediately sways the villagers. An obvious spy guy from earlier tells the orcs who cry for their good pal. I'm honestly supporting the orcs at this point. Adolf gets level 10 in Wizard Creature, another great band name by the way, and this time he gets the class of Blacksmith, and then he gets all upset, because he's a big racist. He finds out that the weapons and tools that he makes can be used by all heroes regardless of class. The first thing he should do would be crafting a dildo so Dipshit can go fuck herself. Gruff blacksmith teacher begins to coach Adolf on how to craft. He makes an axe that leaves a stake inside for some reason. He says he's going to make Useless and Dipshit a weapon, hopefully one that malfunctions and blows up in their face. Adolf says something very funny and also not true. He says he's only focused on who needs to live for the group's benefit, and declares that Useless and Warwick are the most important, and that Dipshit and Golden are more or less replaceable. Useless is stunned by this, just like me, as I'd have had Golden over her any day. Timu comes in and says eugenics, proving I was right to call him Adolf all along. Timu says he can't lose this battle, and the monologue is mercifully cut short by an attack on Japanland's harbour. Well, 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 how the tables have turned. We get a flashback and it begins. Rice, which isn't a racist name I've given him and is his actual name, is working at a castle guarding a noble when Timu shows up. They find out that their nation has fallen and they start running away from farmers like big old pussies. The author starts giving these random lads names like I give a fuck.
Then bandits killed Kotame, Pittsburgh, Botan.
Oh no, they got Cleese. The group looks saddened to hear about this, except Adolf, who's still thinking about those tits. Oh, and neither does Dipshit, as she can't relate to human emotions on account of being essentially just conscious smegma. We cut jarringly back to real time like a traffic accident, and the heroes do battle. Timu rallies the Gooners, and Warwick gets smashed, and her sword breaks. Will the plot remember the time it takes to fix weapons? No, of course not, idiot. It's literally never brought up again. Adolf one-shots an orc with a ballista or rifle, I'm not sure. Rice falls on his fucking face, and everyone takes a moment. The voice acting here in the dub is what I can describe as grating. If you are wondering why I'm not doing the sub, it's because if I listen to the dub, I can keep writing the script on my phone, and not have to continually pause and rewind, ergo watch more of this big pile of shit than I have to. They have a plan to spread out across the terrain of Japanland to kill more orcs, of which there is now 13 and 1 wounded. Dipshit calls the ballista Orc Eater, as they desperately hope the string fails and snaps, killing her on impact. Rice drops a Sieg Heil like Musk, and Adolf is way into it as you can imagine. Useless kills the orc, but Dipshit gets the level up. What the fuck? At no point have we ever been told about share XP for tasks or kills, so I guess there's that now. Dipshit seeks to leave Heat Wizard behind, which she is used about as effectively as a chocolate teapot, and she gets brrrr. I think she hoped for clergy class here, presumably so she can get access to unattended children. She gets Hunter, aka a Predator, aka staying fully in character. She acts like a big weeb for a bit, and everyone else seems to forget that your other lad is desperately trying to lead the orc around. Ursula struggles to run in her armour, despite being able to individually unequip her armour into pieces. This is not used at all to any advantage, as you could just maximise mobility by running around, dick swinging, and at the point of impact, equip the armour that you need to. Orc count 10 and 1 wounded. Adolf jumps down to test his skills and literally just gets clapped up. The orc begins throwing rocks in a bombardment and they open up the walls like Helm's Deep. You may notice, dear viewer, that the size of the orcs is totally fucked. An orc is about 2.5 Adolfs high. We see this lad standing on the wall who was about the same size of Adolf from earlier. I reckon to the bottom is about 4 to 5 Adolf. So what the fuck is this? It's basically Attack on Titan at this point. They all get concerned like, oh no, they're going to get in. So fucking what? The civilians and wounded have been evacuated onto the boat and all the injured to the cave, and the defence is concentrated on the high grounds. So really, it's great news, as the orcs are now stuck in a killing field. Rice flies in and totally fucks it. The girls shout, Rice, no, like they left the stove on too long. He gets smashed and Adolf comes in for the back attack. The other orc gets tripped over and the ballista teleports to ground level now because fuck you, I guess. Orc count 8 and 1 wounded. Rice is yamptured and the piano player is expecting me to give a single shit. Adolf is upset that he's lost his only Nazi pal. Golden backwards hops like it's Bloodborne, and they fire the last shot. Orc count 7 and 1 wounded. And then we get one more, bringing it to 6 and 1 wounded. Apparently there are 5 orcs left, so I guess no one bothered to count. Adolf wants to check in on the tits, so heads off. The Gooners minus Warwick head to the forge to get more bullets. In case you're wondering, these projectiles are not bullets, as they are not fired from a firearm, but bolts. The author too fucking lazy to check once more. 2 more Orkies approach, and Saitama here is seen sneaking off. Timu and Warwick do battle with the Queen, and she says that humans have broken the pact. This is supposed to be some sort of ethical dilemma, but it's totally fucking not. Apparently because the humans suggested the deal they were in, they are wrong for breaking it. This would be the case if the deal was not made under duress. The orcs were eating all the people, especially the young girls, and the people said, stop, we'll give you these buffo. And then they just kept eating more of the buffos, there was not enough for the people. It's a bit like a gang coming in and jumping on your children's knees, and then you're saying, please stop, I'll pay you. And then you're expected to consider that the parent was in the wrong for telling the gang to eventually go fuck itself. Right. Adolf says if you look at this objectively, the islanders are the bad guys. Like, are you fucking dense? I actually went for a walk after watching this segment, looking for various high cliffs and buildings I could jump off so I don't have to watch anymore. Season 2, Episode 4. Adolf is asked to stay on as a blacksmith, and he says nah, and just proceeds to shit on this lad's life profession. Another orc down, and apparently it's 4, but I'm still at 5 and 1 wounded. Humans, you are such foolish creatures. You are far smarter than us, but you are barbaric and cruel. Coming from little girl eaters, that's pretty fucking rich. But then again, if the Queen knew dipshit was arriving on the island, then she was simply denying her more victims. We lose another nameless cunt, and we are supposed to cry again, I think. It's just like Blim's blog from part 1, all of the scenes placed into a montage. Apparently another orc is wounded. The heroes can't use this guy's bolts because they're not made by Adolf, so the islanders are made the loaders. Then this guy will be like, I will help you because you brought me a snack in my time of need. And I breathed out so hard I almost passed out. That's right, they tasted so delicious. I considered here whether to edit in some sort of meter to show the viewer how close I am to giving up and letting the eternal abyss take me, but I think I would be flying up the chart so fast it would look like Weimar Germany's inflation. And Golden charges the castle. An earthquake hits and the volcano erupts. The smith gets destroyed and ages by about 300 years. Lad kills a healthy orc. 1 queen, 1 healthy, and 2 wounded. I wonder if they'll remember this. I don't care gets trapped in the dance cave. Warwick gets yeeted, which is quite funny. The ocean recedes, indicating a tsunami. Should have listened to that K-pop song, I guess. Oh fuck's sake, they sing the song again, to hammer it home to the idiot reptilians among us. Really, the heroes should have just kept a single buffo in a safe place, but fuck off, I guess. The villagers get smashed by magma and shit, and what the fuck? There was a minecart escape track, and apparently we're just to be expected to go, oh yeah, okay, despite no foreshadowing like it's a Crash Bandicoot level or something. Luckily, I remembered that there was a secret cart that takes us up to this raised castle, despite gravity or some shit. I thought, oh well, it's plausible if it runs under the castle, and then they climb up a secret passage, but whatever, you'll see the problem with that soon. Would have been nice if the author had mentioned this before, but okay. Adolf asks, do you know of any weak points in the castle that could bring it down in one blow? Apparently the orcs are immune to being hit by debris because they're higher up. Sure, I guess. I don't care gets all pissy, saying you can't destroy the castle and it hasn't got any weak spots because the ancestors made it, like she didn't just emerge from a glaring weak spot known as a secret cart track. Golden calls Adolf a virgin, which cements him as my favourite character, and it's not even close. Adolf says it's all about your goal, and if you are weak, you can't complete your goal, but you have to complete your goal. Best character Golden says, oh, that doesn't make any sense. Real and true. Tit says, even though I literally sing a song about eruptions and tsunamis and shit, we built on the low ground, exactly like the ancestors told us not to, despite apparently never doing anything that the ancestors would not approve of. Huh. They cry about not properly honouring the legends, exactly how people at my old school refer to me. This is obviously just an analogue for Japanland, and what the fuck, a dragon pops out. Okay. Red Eye's black dragon flies around, and Adolf is like, oh well. We get a floor plan of the ancestor castle like it's Ocean's 11, but instead of robbing money they try to steal a coherent plot. They want to lure the orc out and get him to the edge, which he doesn't fall for. Okay, so no healthy orcs left besides the Queen. Quickly following up on the best scene of Adolf dying, we easily have one of the worst. I don't care says she knows one of the words of the orc languages, but refuses to say it. I don't know why saying a single word in their language would make a lick of difference, but let's find out soon. The woman and the children are trapped on the boat, and the Queen goes to get her family and use the humans as food for the voyage. These are the good guys, apparently. Somehow they get the minecart off the rails and filled it with magma. The anime doesn't try to explain how they did that, so I fucking won't. Adolf is like, I never compliment people, but Golden can do it so easily, like it matters one single iota. He's like, why I'm always alone. Is it because I hate everyone? There's your answer, mate. They begin the attack by pushing the minecart, which if you are wondering why rails are used, is because they're extremely fucking heavy. The girl now shouts the orc phrase, which is, dick frob. I don't know you Naoki Yamakawa, but I can safely say that you can go fuck yourself. The orc is like, what's this bitch shouting? And neither are wounded. Oh, come on, mate. They use Golden as a human spear, and he shouts, and I quote, my dick is definitely throbbing. You are back to piss, and you will not return to Golden until you redeem yourself. The last orc is all fucked up, and Adolf kidnaps the child, presumably to give to dipshit. We're not told this until it's plot relevant, but Tit says that she can see people's life forces, and the dragon is sucking it all up. Swordlad is facing off against the Queen, and all here's some big bullshit. Another tsunami hits and Warwick flies in with her shield surfboard.
Apparently the tide receded, and this apparently means she could revive, which makes no sense at all. We're told that you can't resuscitate when freezing or underwater because the organs shut down. Even if the tide receded, the lungs are still filled with water, and that's why when someone drowns, a part of the resuscitation process is to get the water out. What did I expect? Warwick is right by not donning her armour, as the orc will just kill her in one hit. A rare Warwick W. Dipshit gets submerged in lava and makes a dead Terminator reference. I was delighted. Useless fires and hits the Queen with the crossbow, but the location makes no sense. They were at the Smith on the top right hand side, and the boat was directly south on the beach. For fuck's sake. We get a sad piano music for the orc, which made me burst out laughing.
Save them. Mama is coming.
And Swordlad finally takes her out. People on the boat are being pushed into the lava, and Swordlad tries to stop it like a big stinky idiot. This ship, by the looks of it, is a small carrack, which at the absolute minimum would be about 100 tons, or more normally around 500 tons. The world squat record is 490 kilograms, so this lad is literally 1,000 times stronger than the world's strongest human, so he might as well be fucking Goku. I hate humans. Sad music. I hate them because they're the only living species on Earth that kills other living things out of malice. This is 100% total bullshit. Here's a few off the top of my head. Dolphins, orcas, cats, honey badgers, all canines, bears. I could go on. They kill things that would be inconvenient for them if left alive. This is also stupid because, well, I don't know, diseased livestock having to be culled to save the rest of them, or destroying dangerous invasive species, etc., etc. Saying all this, he then kills the child and orc like a big fucking hypocrite. The orc holds the child up above the lava, which is actually quite a cool visual, and then he ruins it by giving him a big goofy grin. Another part of this whole thing is that they never actually needed to kill any orcs, or any orc child for that matter, as basically they just needed to offer buffo at the festival. The child slips under the lava and burns to death, exactly what I want to do after watching this series. The orcs are gone, and we get a Swordlad flashback, where he has a big old moan about the island like I give a fuck, and he shows he can fly through the air and kill birds, and yet point blank refused to use this power during any of the orc fights. He talks about Japanland being the envy of the world, and we return to him trying to stop a boat by pushing it. I hope he dies after having the audacity. They find Saitama from earlier, and they head up the mountain. Adolf can apparently see life force magic as well now, but this has never been mentioned, because of course not. The dragon smashes piss. I laughed my ass off when Adolf said, "This dragon must be an extremely energy-efficient creature," like some fucking science dork.
This dragon might be an extremely energy-inefficient creature.
Adolf kidnaps Saitama, and he's like, "Ha, well done, hero. I am the Dragon Bishop who summoned forth the dragon." Adolf didn't know that he was the Dragon Bishop, and they just sort of bumble around for a while. "Does that mean it was you who brought the orcs?" They set up to square off, and apparently magic users need incantations, but not the heroes apparently. Plot hole or retcon, you be the judge. Piss announces his stealth attack with a hey-ya! They realise that they need to protect the dancers, and one of them is like, "Oh, is that Raiji from Block 3? Confirming Saitama is from the block, and ergo, a certified hood legend. We quite possibly get the worst storytelling in human history, with, I quote, "Saitama from Block 3, who learned to crawl, walk and talk before any of the other kids. The one who earned everyone's respect as a design engineer. That's right, it was him. He was the one who said that we should build the houses on the low ground." At this point I checked out entirely, disassociating on a level way above the autistic spectrum that I now call the Naoki Yamakawa zone. He fires a firebolt and Adolf blocks it, the piano player going fucking nuclear.
Why would you? After all the terrible things we've put you through.
Jesus Christ, is this a theme where every arc some bumberclark falls for Adolf? And true to form with the rest of the series, a 25-year-old tries to kiss a 14-year-old, adding another to the Certified Lover Boy, Certified Paedophile Club, featuring Dipshit, Henry, and now I Don't Care. He activates his magic wanking glove, saying "not so fast" like a Victorian policeman. Apparently you can combine magic powers, though as you'd come to expect by now, dear viewer, this has never been mentioned until it was plot relevant. If we use the same catalyst, working as an amplifier, shut the fuck up. Distracted, Piss comes in and stabs Saitama, and he dastardly runs away. The Dragon Bishop flies away on a dragon, leaving his Benadryl to be picked up by miners. They disrupt the magic circle that Piss remembers, and I thought, hold on a sec, I don't remember that symbol. I went back earlier in the episode to check, and saw it's there as they first approached, but not in any of the subsequent scenes. Fuck me, lads. First scene, over the right shoulder. Next scene, gone. Then gone again, then back again below his right shoulder, and then with a Bring Me the Horizon logo. Tits follows the magical flow and finds another symbol. They need to erase 4 more circles, and she's like, how are we supposed to know where they are? Are we supposed to follow the flow of magic to find them like we literally just did? They teleport around the island to destroy the circles, and the dragon is like, bollocks to this, I'm going sleepies, and the crisis is over. Timu is dead, I think. Apparently Swordlad got his ass melted like it works that way, and Useless cries. Japanland is saved! Banzai! Banzai! Adolf is sad, probably because he blew it with another girl and will remain an incel. She's like, cheers for the help, mate. And Adolf is like, we only did it to help ourselves, showing the people skills of a puddle of cum. Paedophile girl hugs a 14-year-old and suggests child marriage. Apparently Useless says that he treats the parallel world women like real people, unlike them, which is the most patently false thing said in the show. Timu is alive and is floating like DiCaprio when he sees Dragon Lad. He gets jobbed out like Gilbert, and the bird from part 1 with the cat is back, but with Hedwig instead. She's called Fatina, but she's in pretty good shape, so I'll just call her Ina. The sizes and perspectives are once again fucked, as the owl holds the dragon by its neck and stands right next to her, making her roughly the same size as an Amazonian goddess or the women I masturbate to online. Adolf is back at the Reichstag, and Piss is seen blowing the question as part of the quests. Adolf says that he wouldn't care if the dragon destroyed Tokyo, putting him firmly on the Godzilla collaborator watch list. Transluffy is back, and he says that, you're going to meet the next person soon, and then bounces. We have a segue here, where Useless's voice actor is pretending to be a bad voice actor, which is dangerous territory for the level of voice acting on display. Wolf, I hear you moan, close to climax. Wouldn't you want to do some voice acting? Is it wise to insult people that you could plausibly work with in the future? And my answer is yes, as basically anyone who had anything to do with this show will be treated as though they have super Ebola. She tells Adolf that she's going to judge him, I presume as though he survived shooting himself and made it to the Nuremberg trials. The woman's voice acting is shit, and she's called Glenda, but I will come up with a better name when appropriate. I dread, dear viewer, that we may have another entrant to Paedophile Island, as she wants to videotape a bunch of teenagers frolicking in the woods. She's a videographer, and she has 502,000 subscribers. Oh, fuck. She's using a translator, and she apparently says that there's been a bunch of separate heroes, Dipshit being the one to reveal it. She says that she wants to fuck the French one. You and me both. And she says that she's a lesbian, completely unprompted. She says Frenchie died of a heart attack after failing to finish a quest. She had the idea to shoot some video so they could contact other heroes, and she meets Useless and Warwick, who she immediately tries to chat up, cementing herself as the new resident on Paedophile Island. Oh, I've got a name. Ghislaine. His Gooner friends like, which one are you smashing, lad? Apparently Adolf acts differently when he's outside of Germany. They want to reenact their experiences like anyone would believe it, as a way to reach out to other players. This is giving big full force energy.
Ow! Oh, sorry. I went for the neck.
I'd be absolutely furious if I was Warwick's modelling agent and saw her doing this shite on the internet. She rightfully G-checks Adolf and tells him to be less formal. Ghislaine gets the Warrior Axe class, and Useless reveals she is now a heavy warrior, which I won't imagine will be help at all, and true to form can't wear the armour as it's too heavy. Adolf is immediately like, well, maybe she is stronger now, despite evidence to the contrary. They have a choice of quests this time, with one being reduced rainbow stare addiction to less than 3% in 90 days. I imagine this is like magical fentanyl. Or stop the destruction of Zadroth in 30 days. Piss immediately says B, and I'm sad, as magical fentanyl sounds way more fun. They teleport back to see Henry and get an update. Warwick chastises Adolf for being too formal, and this does not translate to English. Japan essentially has separate languages for when speaking formally or casually. They could have circumvented this in the dub by having Adolf use slang terms when he's casual, as this would have been way funnier. Her house is right up ahead if I remember right. You're being too formal, Adolf. Fine, I'll speak casually. I's gonna to see it, you don't know. We come soon, you batty for your bun, you dirty gal. I'm on your badman to your boomberglat. They find out that Henry is dead, and they meet with Henry Jr., one of her daughters, who then sets them up with a moped horse. Adolf is thinking, I'd finna jack up your mother if she were not taken by the of your man. That's quite good, actually. Piz tries to rizz up Ghislaine, a sentence I never thought I'd say. It doesn't work. She uses Dipshit's username like they're in a Halo 3 clan. They see a goblin and Piss gets his ass beaten, as the goblin is way stronger than before. Ghislaine smashes the guy, and Adolf says that the goblins have a threat level. We are told that he can see where to cut them for food, but nothing about threat levels or any other bullshit. I think at this point I'm just used to the silly bollocks. They say, wait up, we should stick together and go looking for Ghislaine. And may I remind you, dear viewer, that they have access to a map that shows exactly where they are and where they're facing. This is twice the author has forgot about this. Ghislaine and Useless find a house and a little girl, a real safeguarding issue, I think. She sends in Useless to engage in preliminary grooming. They meet Jesby, and from this moment I will call her in imminent danger. Apparently the village they're looking for is on the tip of this big monolith, and they say it like it's practical. In imminent danger is hiding from the villagers. Wisely, the little girl rejects Ghislaine's offer to go to the woods alone. Just when you thought I was exaggerating about calling her a groomer, she tells Useless that she likes children, and that the girl is cute, but she'd like them more when they turn 18. I think the author imagined Ghislaine as being the new adult member of the group, a more mature person, but it comes off as very, very weird. She's basically looking at a 10-year-old and saying, yeah, I'd smash in 8 years, which is wild. I'm interested in women, not girls, despite trying to flirt with 2 14-year-olds already. She says, don't worry, not even men go around hitting on every woman they meet. This implies that she believes Useless to be a woman, and it's just not her type. Fucking gross. Then she grabs her by the chin and says, you look super cute when you blush, and it acts like a big old stinky pedo. Fuck you, Naoki. Useless struggles with a lesbian awakening, and Adolf fucks up this little girl's crop rotation by artificially growing them. It's weird how this little girl lives in the forest filled with monsters like it's no problem. Plot hole or foreshadowing, it's literally impossible to tell. They meet African-American Caterpie, and the guy literally goes, "Urgh!" It's somewhat ironic they now have to battle a brain parasite, as it feels like I've had some sort of prion disease after watching all of this. My Crunchyroll, still not sponsored by the way, should have had a pop-up asking me if they needed to contact some sort of self-harm charity or provide the location of my nearest euthanasia centre. Season 2, Episode 8. Apparently Adolf knows about these creatures from another player online, which we had no idea he learnt about, so fuck off I guess. What he doesn't know was that it was just me on the other end of the internet trolling. Be careful of the snarfalumps, brave hero. Guys, shut up. Guys, shut up. You can only slay them by offering your nutsacks as tribute. He ignored my advice and says you have to burn Black Caterpie with the host, purely just to have an edgy moment where a daughter watches a parent die. Then Adolf can go, oh, I hate people. Useless fucking bottles it and gets chokeslammed. Ghislaine hits a nasty 2-footed tackle in the back, which surely would have earned her a red. We have a Ghislaine flashback lasting all of 2 seconds. Thank Christ, some improvement. Adolf asks what made Useless be useless, like it wasn't obvious. Ghislaine takes Useless's side and chastises Adolf for being uncaring about a human being, and he unironically says, I've lost my moral compass. Adolf from Piano Man says to Useless, if there's anything you can't do, just say so, and I will do it. Adolf is in for a lot of fucking work, it seems. I completely zoned out at Useless's monologue until Ghislaine comes in for some light grooming and says what holds the crown as the funniest statement of the season. I once almost got depressed over a dead body. Exactly how autistic people would describe bereavement. They take a boat over to the monolith and they are told of a secret passage. They work their way through the caves and in imminent danger tells them that they have another day and a half to get to the top. Apparently the villagers send out people alone to go look for a safer place to live. What complete fucking idiots. Rather than send out people who actually survive in groups, they send out old people, which sounds like they're just feeding old people to monsters at this point. Eventually it was just imminent danger and her brother, and she set out to find her dad, who was just cozying up at this point in his little farm, chilling.